Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Harvey, Slater, holistic nutrition coach. How's it going? So it got really chilly up here in my cabin up in the mountains. And so I was thinking to myself, what would a famous food blogger or Martha Stewart do at a time like this? Well, they'd put on a flannel shirt and take a video in front of their fireplace, right? And tell you all about comforting foods. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. I am taking the bait and I am going to show you how to make an awesome sweet potato or yam soup with fresh pears, and it has a bunch of surprise ingredients that you probably would not expect to see in soup that all make it super creamy and yummy, like butter in your mouth, but actually super good for you. So I'm excited to share this one with you. Check it out. This is super easy because you don't require any crazy sauteing or anything fancy. We're just going to put everything in a pot and just let it rip. So what I have here is just 2 quarts of vegetable stock or vegetable broth. You can use chicken stock if you want. You can use some bone broth if you want. And then I have about a pound of just traditional garnet yams. And those are cut up, and that comes to about 4 cups. And I'm going to put those in there. I don't even take the peel off. I don't know if you noticed that. Then I also have about medium carrots, and I'm going to add that. And then I have about 2 stalks of celery cut up roughly. And you don't have to cut these up fancy because everything's going to be pureed. So you can just do it kind of rough, and that saves you a lot of time. This is 1/2 an onion and one about kind of a small to medium shallot, and those are roughly cut up. So we're going to put all of those in there, and then we're basically just going to cover this and let it simmer for probably about 20 or 30 minutes. So now that this has been cooking for about 20 minutes, I'm going to take the top off, and I'm just going to let it simmer or boil with the top off for maybe about 10 more minutes, but it's getting good. You can tell because the broth is turning brown. And you can smell the aroma of the yams and the vegetables, and that's a good indication that it's starting to cook into the broth really good. So we're going to let that go for about 10 more minutes. Okay, so this is cooked down pretty good. It's nice and soft. The yams are soft, and usually you can tell it's ready when you taste the broth. If the broth has absorbed the flavors of all the different ingredients, especially the key ingredient, then you're pretty much there. So what we're going to do with this is now we're going to turn the stove off. I've got 2, these are just some red pears I got at the farmer's market, and they're just cut up into chunks without the seeds. And I'm going to add those pears to the soup mixture like that. And then I'm going to put, this is a 1/4 cup of tahini paste, and I'm going to put that in there. And that's going to give it a little bit of a creamy effect and give it some healthy fats from the sesame seeds that are in the tahini. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Chinese 5 spice. And then I've got a can of full fat coconut milk, and I'm going to add that. And you can use, if you want it to be lower fat, you could use a lower fat coconut milk like the kind that comes out of the fridge that's cold and refrigerated. But this is just the traditional coconut milk because we want to give this kind of a nice, comforting, kind of fatty aesthetic without being too unhealthy. And then I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of roughly chopped up fresh mint. And I'm just going to kind of blend this all together and let the tahini break up in there a little bit. And then we're going to add it to this blender, and we're going to start blending it and pureeing it in a Vitamix. And it might take a couple batches of blending to get it to actually, to give it enough room in the blender pitcher. You don't want to ever fill your blender pitcher more than about halfway to 2/3 because it's it's kind of combustible. When it's this hot, it'll explode a little bit when you turn the blender on. So you always want to start your blender slow and make sure you don't fill it too full. So we're going to puree this up, and then we're going to come back and finish it off. So there is one batch, and we're going to go ahead and do the other batch. This should be enough to fit into the rest of the blender now. And here's the rest of it. It's amazing how much soup a few little vegetables will make, isn't it? Always kind of blows me away. So I think this soup needs a little more of a color pop. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of, this is a turmeric spice that I got at the store, but I'm doing it mostly just for color. So you don't want to disrupt the other flavors too much. But I just think it needs a little more of a golden color. So I'm going to add that turmeric in there, and that's going to bring out the color just a little bit more. That's looking beautiful. And then I'm going to go ahead and just season it with some tweaks of salt. And this is probably about maybe a half to a full teaspoon of salt once it's all said and done. And if you want, you can always put a little bit of fresh cracked pepper in there as well. And maybe about 20 turns of that. Or if you were measuring it, it might be about a quarter teaspoon or a half teaspoon. And then we're going to whip it up with a wire whip because we want to make sure we get any chunks of turmeric that are in there, so there aren't because turmeric doesn't really have a great flavor, but it's good for coloring, and as you know, it also has great functional healing properties because it's getting quite the buzz for being an anti-inflammatory. So we know that too. So this is pretty much what we got, and I'm just going to give it a taste and make sure it tastes super yummy. Yeah, it's a really nice mellow flavor. You can add a little more of the Chinese 5 spice if you want it to be a little spicier. But I can taste the sweet potatoes, I can taste the pears, I can taste the fresh mint. It's quite delicious. So to serve this, all I'm going to do is take a nice bowl, and I'm going to dish some of the soup into the bowl. Like that. And then I'm going to put some more just chopped mint on top, and then I'm going to put, I saved some of the pear on the side and I just chopped it into little pieces. I'm going to put some of the pear like that, and there you have a beautiful sweet potato, yam, and pear soup just in time for the autumn chilly weather. So try this at home, let me know what you think, and enjoy. Bye for now. Later days.